Hello again, and welcome back to the ЭСКАТО online learning course on BPA for trade facilitation. This next module is about BPA project planning. Therefore, the purpose of this module is to discuss some tips and techniques on how to develop a detailed work plan that guides and manages the implementation of a business process analysis project. Reminding that we are now during phase 1, scope setting and planning, which is the very first phase of the 3 main phases for managing a BPA project as we discussed in the previous module. We propose here that the work plan should be developed based on the use case diagram which we define the project scope as discussed in the previous module. Detailed project plan including human resources, tasks, deliverables, schedules, and any other supporting facilities must be developed to guide the management and controlling of the project. Based upon the use case diagram, the work breakdown structure of work products and tasks shall be developed. These output-oriented descriptions of project tasks as summarized in the work breakdown structures then serve as a basis for project timeline, cost and effort estimation, and scheduling. So who should involve in this project planning phase? It is the responsibility of the project manager of the project to draft the detailed work plan and discuss this draft plan with key stakeholders, particularly the process analysis and the project sponsor. The project sponsor and process analyst should provide review and feedback to refine this proposed draft plan. Finally, the project sponsor should approve the plan and grant the necessary resources for conducting this BPA project. Let me introduce some tips and techniques for BPA project planning based upon the concept of work breakdown structure, or WBS in short. A work breakdown structure is an output-oriented description of project tasks. It typically starts with outputs or expected work products that should be developed or should be delivered during the course of project execution timeline. The work components to be carried out to produce outputs should then be broken down into several tasks necessary to deliver each work product. Therefore, based upon the use case diagram, the work breakdown structures of work products and tasks should be articulated. In a typical BPA project, 6 sets of deliverables or work products are recommended to be developed. The first set is the set of activity diagrams. At least one activity diagram must be created for each use case or each main business process. Each activity diagram captures detailed steps, detailed procedures, and documentary requirements for each core business process or each use case. For example, if we have 11 use cases within the scope of a particular BPA project, this means that at least 11 activity diagrams must be developed during the course of this BPA project. Secondly, a set of written process description should be developed. A written process description should be developed for each activity diagram. Written process description for each of these activity diagrams should be created to formally describe the detailed flow of activities, documentary requirements for that particular activity diagram. Each process description provides a textual description of an activity diagram itself and related information including relevant laws, rules and regulations, documentary requirements, input and criteria to enter or begin that business process, output and criteria to exit the business process, and indicate the average time and cost required to complete these activities. Please refer to the recommended template and example of written process description from the UNX BPA guide available from the ESCAP website for further details. Another set of deliverable is an integrated activity diagram. This integrated activity diagram is actually the information that combines all activity diagrams together. Fourthly, time procedure chart. A time procedure chart which informs the average time required to complete each core business process and the sequential order that all these core business processes are carried out. Fifthly, the bottlenecks. We try to identify bottlenecks and any redundancies in documentary and procedural requirements. And number 6 is the improvement recommendations and also the better to be business processes. An output-oriented description of project tasks as summarized in the work breakdown structure then serve as a basis for project timeline, cost, and effort estimation. So next is about process analysis, which is the one that are very important in conducting this BPA project study. What kinds of skills needed for each process analysis? The project team should consist of process analysis with critical thinking, good personalities, and sound interpersonal skills. He or she should have also the technology skills with some basic knowledge about UML notations, especially in use case diagram and activity diagrams. Related work experience is complementary for this case also. For our process analysis, he or she should also possess some business and organizational skills. Since it is very important that the selected process analysis know or have an access to the individuals of the business domain under investigation, it is also very useful if they have knowledge of the particular organization or industry associated with the target business domain of interest. Interpersonal skills or communication skills are very much needed also because process analysis ability to effectively communicate and interact with other project members is mostly crucial to project success. They also should have the ability to create and sustain reasonably good relationships with other project stakeholders, especially with those who are our business domain experts. Analytical skills. Process analysis should be able to capture relevant information from verbal expression and also written documents, then try to formalize them in various types of BPA or project deliverables. This figure illustrates a BPA project planning example in a simplified chart. One important tip is that we should not underestimate the effort and the schedule that are needed to fulfill certain tasks, especially those related to human interaction. For example, during the data collection and so also for verification and validation of our findings. So in conclusion, this module discusses the importance of BPA project planning. To develop a project plan, it is necessary to understand and define a more precise scope of the project. This is why we recommend that the BPA project scope should be articulated and defined with a clear use case diagram. Since the use case diagram will help the project manager and relevant stakeholders to understand the breadth and the depth of the project. The number of use cases and the number of actors within the use case diagram can give us a good clue on how many detailed deliverables, tasks, and schedules that are needed. Who is or who should be the right sponsor is another important question during the project planning that we need to get good answers. Since the right project sponsor is very crucial, because the findings and improvement recommendations from this BPA project can only be seriously considered for actual implementation. A good BPA working plan should include necessary tasks like data collection, interview, site visits, process description, formulation, verification and validation of the findings, improvement recommendations, and all tasks for each case and activity diagram. Identify those who should be involved, and roughly estimation of the timeline, schedule, and needed budgets. Here, we are going to utilize and escalate the outcome of this BPA project. How we are going to utilize this outcome is very important also. And this question need to find some answer also during our BPA project planning. There are some of the key issues to be covered during the course of this endeavor. Now is the end of Module 4, BPA project planning. I wish you the best and see you again in the next session. Thank you.